What's up, guys? This is Eric from Smelly Russian Gaming. Just giving you guys a quick update. Some news about Battlefield. I recently gotten back into it. It's a little bit better. DMRs are fixed. Still a few things we got to work on, but it's a lot better than what it was. An update on the class action lawsuit that was filed back in December. I'm reading this straight from GameStop, not GameStop, GameSpot, and it just uh, was released on their website probably about 2 hours ago. The class action lawsuit against Electronic Arts concerning Battlefield 4 has amounted to nothing at all. Robbins, Geller, Rudman, and Dowd LLP, the legal team behind the high-profile Enron lawsuit, commenced the legal action in the middle of December, but the case required a lead plaintiff, someone materially harmed by the company's sales performance, to come forward within 60 days for the case to become an actual class action lawsuit. That never happened, and now all mention of the case has been scrubbed from Robbins, Geller, Rudman, and Dowd's website. We have reached out to them half a dozen times over the past 2 weeks, and in every case could not reach the lawyers behind the proceedings. Messages through voicemail and email were not returned. The original complaint alleged during the July 24th through December 3rd period class defendants issued materially false and misleading statements regarding Battlefield 4. As a result of these statements, EA's share value rose and reached up a high of period of $28.13, allowed certain EA senior executives to sell their shares at at the inflated price the suit claimed. Various EA senior executives, including CEO Andrew Wilson, indeed sold thousands of shares ahead of Battlefield 4's release in November. But it happens this was not out of the ordinary. The lawsuit also featured charges related to the bug-ridden PlayStation 4 version of Battlefield 4. EA's share value fell after the company disclosed the game's various issues, and even further after EA said it had halted the future projects until these issues could be fixed. EA has since clarified that it is working on fixing Battlefield 4 issues, has not impacted the release schedule of any of its future games, which led the company's stock bouncing back significantly. So essentially, this lawsuit and this class action against EA and DICE is finished. It's over and done with. They couldn't get anybody to come in and say that they were, as it says right here, someone materially harmed by the company's sales performance. Um, so they clearly saw first off that the sales ahead of time when everything inflated, up once they announced, all the stuff for Battlefield 4. And then, all the issues came along and, everything dropped down the market as far as, EA's concern. And then, it's just, I mean, I thought this maybe would go somewhere. I don't like to, pick on people, and I want them to fail, but this was something I actually wanted EA to kind of pay the price for. Um, it was Battlefield 4 has been such an issue, and it's been so bug ridden. My good buddy Isaac, that you guys know, that have followed us for some time now, is the guy who got me in Battlefield with Bad Company 2. Me and him have been playing for a long time. He's easily one of the best players that I know of outside of the YouTube community. That is very good at playing Battlefield and is very consistent. And he has PS3. He doesn't have next gen or a gaming PC just yet, but he had Battlefield 4 for some time. He got it at release when it came out for last gen, and he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have Battlefield 4 anymore, and he's tired of it. There's still some bugs. There's still the one shot kill glitch, which is ridiculous. There's still some other things. The looks are horrible on last gen, on the 360 and PS3. They just are. The resolution's just not there. You know, it's it's just not there. It just doesn't look good. You know, and it was, you know, for some people it messes with the way you play. Isaac told me it messed with the way he played a little bit. Not too much, but it was aggravating at times. But you know, it when it came to this, I was really, really hoping that, you know, EA would take a fall for once. You know, they'd take their medicine. They'd say, you know what, we screwed up. We'll pay the price. We'll make things right. And there just wasn't enough, I guess you could say, evidence against them, and enough of a case against them to even have something like that happen, which is very disappointing. I'm going to start off with a story. About a week ago, me and all my buddies that play video games together, Isaac, Ryan, on here on this channel, that does videos with me, um, he, but we were all talking and stuff, and we were talking about, you know, we were talking about games in general. And me and Isaac got to talking, and you know, we were frustrated with Battlefield, and you know, we were talking and all that fun stuff. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but somehow we got on the topic of Medal of Honor, and we just kept talking over and over, you know, how it was so much fun, and the weapons were balanced well, and the maps were great, and the pace of play was great. Um, the weapon sounds, as far as you know, what Dice and these guys put into the Medal of Honor games to make the guns sound authentic when you shoot and things like that. We were even talking about the 2010 Medal of Honor, and we were also talking about Warfighter. And you know, and then I started posting stuff, and then you know, I got to thinking about it, and I was like, it is astounding that even a game that, for one, probably shouldn't have even been released. You know, it probably shouldn't have. It was released at least 2 months before it was finished, because they had to release a patch day one to finish the rest of the game, and then probably, I think it was 3 or 4 months later, they released a patch to fix what was wrong with it, because there was a bunch of issues with spawning outside of the map, not being able to spawn at all, um, a bunch of issues with hit detection, things like that. Um, but once it was fixed, if you waited 6 months, you know, if you just said, you know what, I'm gonna trade this away, get something else, buy me some time, come back, you know, when it's at the 6 month mark of its after its release, and you know, I'm gonna start playing it. And that's basically what I did, and a few of my other buddies. Me and David were super super into it, and we started playing Warfighter, and it was fun. You know, it wasn't. It didn't. It the animations were great as far as reloads, and you know, from a first person standpoint, everything looked really really good. Um, the AI may have not looked that great, as far as who you were playing against online may have not looked that great, um, but it was still fun. The it, and it's hard to emphasize how much fun it really was, because the pace of play was slower than Call of Duty but faster than Battlefield, so it was a good middle ground. The maps were designed fairly good. They weren't amazing, but they were good enough to where it met the pace of gameplay. And you didn't have to worry about getting stuck in spots or anything like that, or having to go down these shallow hallways to where you didn't have a chance of making it through there, because there's a lot of alleyways and a lot of ways you could get around. Weapons were super super balanced. If you ran out of ammo, you could still throw down your main weapon, whip out your pistol or your shotgun, depending on which class you were, and you could still compete, and you could still get kills, and you could still play well, which I loved. Um, and it was the same way in Medal of Honor. You know, the pace of play was good. The maps were fair. They were okay. They were Call of Duty-ish, I would say. Um, Pistols were good. Uh, it looked good at the time. You know, that coming out in 2010 on 360, it looked good. Um, because that was really a big step with EA's Frostbite engine. But I think I think the biggest reason why there's such a difference in Battlefield 4 and Medal of Honor Warfighter, or the Medal of Honor games, was Warfighter was taken head on, made, designed, taken head on with Frostbite engines, and then um, it was headed up by Danger Close, which was a part of Bad Company 2 and um, the first Medal of Honor in 2010. Not the first one, but Medal of Honor 2010. And I think that was the biggest difference because when I ask all my other buddies and all the other guys that play Battlefield, I ask them, what in your opinion, what's the best Battlefield game? And a good majority of them say, as far as an all-around game, Bad Company 2 is the best. And that was a Danger Close. They didn't head it up. EA and DICE were still a part of that. It was DICE's engine. EA was heading it up, but Danger Close was a huge part in that. Um, Danger Close, I believe, and I could be wrong, but uh, Danger Close isn't a part of Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4, and that's a big reason why I think they've kind of fell on their face on these last two games. Battlefield 3 has struggles in the beginning, a lot of patches that was ruining the game. They thought they were fixing it, they're just ruining it, you know. And the same thing with and well, not the same thing, but with Battlefield 4, they're making the appropriate changes the first time. But it didn't come out the way it should have. It did. They should have waited another probably 4 or 5 months before releasing it. But like always, somebody has to beat Call of Duty. Somebody has to beat out Call of Duty, and you know that's just the way it was. You know, and for me, Medal of Honor, both of them, 2010 and Warfighter, are going to be easily the funnest first-person shooters I've ever played, hands down. Not because it looks the greatest, or because the maps are phenomenal, or whatever else people seem to associate good games with. It's just good old-fashioned fun, and it makes sense, and everything fits perfectly together. Um, having the different factions from different countries. The weapon customization is phenomenal, and I don't know why Battlefield didn't take that from them and implement that, but that was something amazing and something I had never seen before. Um, the kill streaks were actually quite interesting, and I did enjoy the kill streaks. I don't enjoy kill streaks on Call of Duty. Um, each individual class had their own special abilities. Um, the different categories of weapons were evenly balanced, so that anybody could take on anybody regardless of class, and the amount of rounds in the clip or how much firepower you had. You always had a chance. Even if you did have a pistol, you still had a chance. um, I enjoy games a lot better, especially first person shooters. I enjoy them a lot better if there is a fun factor and there's not a frustrating factor. Because if you look at Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, there have always been these frustrating factors because they've always emphasized, the realist looking maps and gun balance and all these different things that they say is so realistic and it's so beyond, um, I guess you could say arcade shooters if you want to stick them in that category. But I mean, both of the recent Medal of Honor games are just fun. Regardless, they're just fun. Yeah, you can make an argument. I'm not gonna argue with you if you want to say it came out broken and they didn't really fix it. Yeah, there are still some issues. There still are issues, but people still play the game. Why? Because it's fun. Because it makes sense. Because everything fits together. And it just makes sense. You know, every once in a while you'll run across, and that's what Medal of Honor has been as far as first-person shooters. They're not going to compete at the top. They're not going to make the most money. They may not look the greatest. You know, they may not spend as much money as these other companies do on first-person shooters, but it just fits. And it's like it just works, and that's all I can say. It just works, and I hope that EA has the intelligence and the foresight to see that Danger Close came out with something good and something that worked with not only the Medal of Honor series, which is now dead, rest in peace. You know, I hope they bring it back, but the likelihood is not good because, you know, they released it too early. It's just a fact. You know, if they had waited, you know, 4, maybe 6 months, then released it, you know, it would have been it would have sold a lot more copies and people would have been a lot happier. But that just happens sometimes. You know, you think you can handle it, you know, they put too much on their plate and they couldn't handle it. You know, that's just what happens. But thanks guys for watching. Thanks guys for listening. Like, comment below. Tell me what you guys think. You know, if you're Battlefield fans, you know, give me a thought on, you know, which of the Battlefields is better. What do you think of the Medal of Honor series? Should it come back? Should it stay dead? Do you think that the Danger Close should be more involved in their games and have more control over what goes in the games than what they've been given in the past? Um, just really give me your opinion, guys. I want to know what you have to say. If you have any ideas for videos or you want to hear anything or have us talk about or any information you have questions on, please comment, like, rate below. Thank you guys. Have a good night.